Hello and welcome to Mum's Work and Chaos with me, Louise. They say it takes a village to raise a child, so let me help you build yours. During this journey, I'll be learning about everything from neurodiversity in children's literature through to body image post-pregnancy. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mum's Work and Chaos with me, Louise. This week, I am super duper honoured to be joined by the amazing Lauren Smith, one half of the Go Love Yourself podcast, and just general body positivity, sparkly queen. That's the best way I can describe you, because you're amazing and I love you and your whole messaging, everything. So yes, would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Oh my God, that's the nicest introduction ever. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And I love doing other people's podcasts because I feel like the pressure's off a little bit. And so this is where you need to step in and stop me if I ramble. There's no script for me this side.
I promise.
That was a perfect introduction. I co-host a podcast all about body confidence, self-love, talking a little bit about diet culture. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast, Louise?
Of course you are.
Right, yeah, tackling the bullshit that is diet culture. Just learning to love and or accept ourselves the way we are in a world that doesn't really want to love us back. And then off the back of doing that podcast, have built a wonderful community online, mostly Instagram, and I'm able to kind of share those messages on there as well, which is amazing, and I love it, and it's just wonderful. So that is a little bit about what I do.
Honestly, I obviously came across your co-host Laura Adlington through Bake Off.
Wasn't she fabulous?
She was fabulous.
She was awesome.
Immediately started following her.
Good.
And then when you guys launched the podcast, obviously started following the podcast, and I just absolutely love the little snippets that you guys put out on Instagram for all the different episodes. And then of course, as soon as you guys launched the Go Love Yourself community on Facebook, I was straight in there as well.
Oh my God, you're a proper OG. I love it.
Yeah, I've been following you about for years. No, it sounds cool. But honestly, like, I think one of the hardest things when you're a woman anyway is, you know, we've got all these prehistoric beauty standards that have come about through the ages. You've got this waif like sort of style that came out in the 20s, and you know, we had, I guess, really, like, this is the history that I know. You know, we sort of like got around to really there being sort of specific body types and like the way you had to have your body to fit clothes.
Yes.
And that's not the way it should be. Clothes should fit your body, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
But you know, we've been upheld to these stupid beauty standards since, you know, early 1900s, and it's just continued, and it's horrible. But I think as well as a mum, you are put in this, you know, sort of like box where you have to, you know, have a baby, grow a baby, look beautiful while you do grow the baby, and then of course lose the weight as soon as the baby comes out of you, which is impossible. And it's not just weight, it's like your organs are all smushed around and they all have to find their way back to the original.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think that's like one of the things that like sort of kicked off my own body positive journey, was like trying to work out how I felt after having my first child, especially because I did the whole, you know, have the baby, go on maternity leave, get super duper stupidly depressed because I hated being at home on my own with a child and being isolated in that way. But then also like not feeling like I looked the same or I could look the same. And I think that's what turned me around and led me to that place where I just went, do you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
I've always wanted pink hair. I'm just going to bleach my hair and dye it pink. I've always wanted a leather jacket. I'm going to have one. I've always wanted Dr. Martens. I shall go out and buy a pair. And honestly, like having people like yourselves to follow and look up to, it really does help sort of like reclaim that space as well. So, you know, actually being able to go, yeah, okay, I might feel shit today, but there's stuff I can do to make myself feel better, even if that's like putting on the brightest coloured lipstick you can possibly find, or walking into an awesomely decorated room in your house, because every room in your house is awesomely decorated. But one of the things I really wanted to ask you was, just to sort of like open with, was like, what does body positivity mean to you? Body confidence mean to you?
So I think just before we started recording, you said something really nice, which I haven't really thought of in that way of body confidence and body positivity or body acceptance, whatever, means different things to different people. And I think that's like a really nice way that you put that. And even for those that listen to our podcast, or if you don't, Laura, my co-host, and I, we've got different views of what that is, even between us. And I love that. And I think for me, body confidence and body positivity is getting to this place that I currently am and being like, I love myself. However, for a lot of people, it is, I like myself and I like my body and I know I can't change it, or it's going to be really quite, triggering or just not good for me to try and change it. And so I accept my body for what it can do for me rather than what it looks like. And whatever one that is, it's just so important, because the whole reason why we kind of started the podcast, and I assume so many of your listeners will feel the same, we've all had these like periods of time where we've been at war with ourselves, where we hate ourselves so much. How much energy have we put into hating ourselves, hating our bodies? And as you said, to try and meet a standard that is set by a bunch of rich men, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, do you know what I mean? But it is this thing of these very unrealistic beauty standards that we're trying to meet, and when we don't meet them, we feel like we failed. But we haven't, because our tagline for the podcast is like, the way you look is the least interesting thing about you. And that's probably the biggest message that helped with the start of my journey, was like, Jesus Christ, like there's so much other stuff that I do and I'm about, and all this kind of stuff that's not about my body or the way I look. Why has it got to always be about it? Do you know what I mean? So even when
That's
you said earlier, like those days that you're not feeling good, try and put, do what you can do. So that might be, as you said, put on a bright lipstick, bright dress, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But also know that it's not the most important thing either.
I recorded a podcast, an episode recently with a PT as well, where we talked about like not just, well, he really interested me because he's called Coach for Parents, and his whole premise isn't about getting that summer body, getting, looking a certain way, or being skinny or losing weight. Actually, it was about having a body that was functional for your job as a parent, and being able to move better and get up the stairs without like collapsing, being able to chase your kid around the playground and feel, like your body was functioning properly. And I think that's sort of the stage where I'm at now. Like I've gone through I went through that stage where, my boobs looked different, my tummy looked different, my hips were bigger. I went up a couple of sizes. Even if I lost weight, I was still in a bigger size jeans because my hips were bigger. I had physically changed from pushing
of course you did,
watermelon out of my the JJ. But you change. There are physical things that change that cannot be unchanged. It's like chemistry. It's like baking a loaf of bread. But we but yeah, those things happen. So those are these physical things that change, and his whole premise was like, like I mean, I've had lower back problems since my second, and so I've been working a bit with him to sort out like my clicking hips and my lower back and things like that. For me, working with a PT hasn't been about changing the way I look. It's about making my body work. And that was the really good thing about that podcast, was like, as well, he opened with, all food is good food. Like there's no bad food. He was like, I would never recommend to my clients that they cut out a food group. I would never do that, blah blah blah. It's all about like, you just eat what you want. It's fine. But yeah, it was really interesting to hear that message as well, and especially from PT. Like, we all encounter the diet industry and diet culture, but like he even says, like, I don't even put myself within that, like, within that box.
That's a good PT, right? Because I
Yeah.
think we've been exploring this more recently, and I've gone through like a big sort of change, I'd say, in the last like 3 months, which I'll get onto in a second. But we need more PTs out there to understand the huge issues that so many of us have when it comes to movement, and then also talking about diet and by diet I mean the food we eat, not eating to lose weight kind of thing. If I was to start with a PT and they were like, right, we're going to weigh you, I'm like, but I don't want to exercise to necessarily lose weight. I want to do it because I know the mental health benefits are so incredible, and that's what I want. So that PT sounds like an absolute dude, and honestly, like, we all need him.
my goal was to stop clicking and cracking, have more energy in the morning, and actually sleep at night, because like I was finding that I was like watching telly until like midnight, and then one of the kids would wake up, and then I wasn't getting to sleep until like 1 a.m, because then I'd get the child back to sleep, and then I'd end up doom scrolling on my phone instead of going to sleep. And honestly, it was just about having this more energy at the right end of the day, so that I could concentrate in the morning and actually get some sleep. And it's been brilliant, honestly. It's really helped. But
that's so great.
It's just like,
it's hard.
I think it's funny, isn't it? Because like you said, we have this whole diet culture and PTs who slam on that, or they get bikini ready for the summer and get your bikini body. And I love it when all the opposite memes come out, and it's like, you have a bikini and you have a body.
Get on the beach, you have a beach bikini body. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Honestly, but like the message of eating and moving, and I say now movement rather than exercise, because I find exercise, even just saying it, my brain has just gone fuzzy with thinking about those hours and hours I spent on a bloody cross trainer trying to like, I must look good for this sexy man I'm dating. Fuck off.
If he doesn't love you for you, what's the point?
Right. It takes a lot to get to that point where we're reframing those things for not for making our body smaller, and also because then we don't want to necessarily make our body smaller because other people in the world is telling us to. So for example, recently, pretty much same reasoning as you, I wanted to make my life a little bit better. So I've had some really like quite significant mental health struggles over the last 6 years, and real like peaks and troughs moments and stuff, and I had a really, really awful start to the year. And at the beginning of April, I just went, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep having these episodes of feeling really low and all of these kind of things. There's some things in my life that trigger me that I will never be able to change, but I need to make my brain a nicer place to be. And so from that point, I took a few weeks to get to start it. But then from that point, I started going on walks every day. I took a bit of time off of work, and therefore had like the mental capacity to be able to do other stuff and not think and not stress. And so naturally I've noticed that my binging and overeating has stopped. And at this point of recording, I haven't had a binge for about 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 months, amazing. Which is insane. And it's nothing to do with the way that I look. It's to do with the way that I feel. And 2.5 months later, my brain is such a nicer place to be. And that's the message. I think we're about to start recording our season 4, and my Instagram messaging will change to this to kind of be like, if you want to do these things, it's all about looking after your brain and your body. And I think when we think about that, we think, okay, right, that means exercise and getting into like the jean size down. It's got nothing to do with that. Like health is such a big thing. It's not just about our physical health. It's about our mental health. And for me, my mental health, to look after my mental health is more important. And like you said, for me, it's reframing exercise and movement as something to do to help me and perhaps, to make a commute a bit easier and the long days
God,
a bit
yeah.
easier and stuff
Well,
like that. So
when I started working with Jack, he was like, oh, like, what do you actually enjoy doing? And I was like,
love that.
walking, and I want to be stronger, but I don't really want to be skinny. I just want to get like stronger, because like I have a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and they're all fucking mental.
You need resilience. You need like, what's the word? Stamina is what you need. Yeah.
And so I was like, and he was like, what equipment do you have at home? And I was like, I've got an exercise bike. He was like, how often do you go on that? And I was like, barely ever, because it makes me feel like death. And he was like, okay, we won't use the exercise bike then, and we will go for walks. And so like some of my workouts are just like, go for a walk through a field. It's like,
love
okay,
that.
cool.
Oh my God, you know how happy that makes me. That's
honestly,
so
I've got
nice.
beautiful photos of my last walk, like duck ponds, wheat fields, and all sorts of stuff. It was lovely. And
how much did you enjoy
husband,
that compared to like sweating it out in an hour for the gym, hating it?
I absolutely love it, and I
Mm.
hate the gym. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I moved to Essex 10 years ago, I'm a North London girl, born and bred, Enfield, North London. I know you're Kent, but that's fine.
No, it's all right. We like North London.
South of the river. Oh my God.
There is this massive thing about north and south of the river. And do you know what's so funny? I only found out recently. So obviously like the Kent and Essex, there is a thing between the Kent and Essex, right? But I didn't realise that Essex had it in for us as much as we have it in for Essex. So there's a girl at work and she's like, yeah, Kent's full of like inbreds. And I'm like, no, we're nice. And now it's a real rivalry. Who knew? But anyway, I still like you.
It is funny. No, so if anyone ever asks me, I'm a North Londoner. I'm not from Essex, but I did move here. We love you, Essex people. I moved here 10 years ago. Well, 11 actually. 11 years ago. God, that's crazy. And one of the first things that me and my husband did was we checked out the gym. We went and got passes for all the gyms.
Yeah.
And I felt so uncomfortable. I'm not a gym person. I go even for a walk and I look like a beetroot at the end of it. I sweat. You know, I have these things called sweat glands, and they work. Okay.
And they work.
Yeah, exactly. And I cannot wear makeup in 30-degree heat because it will just melt off my face. Whereas you get these girls in like skin tight everything on a cross trainer, moving incredibly slow with a full face of slap. And I was just like, I don't know, like, I don't fit in here. And so I never went back because I felt so uncomfortable. It was like, I'm actually here to do something and make myself feel better. And I felt ostracized for it. And so I just didn't. And we got a dog and I walked her every day and twice a day sometimes. And that's what made me feel good, was going out for a walk with the dog and like actually like listening to some music or chatting to my family on the phone and things like that. And so, and now it's listening to your podcast and other things as well. But I mean, about a year and a half ago, I started therapy as well, just because like I felt I'd been in such a shit job. I was freelancing for this company and they were the most toxic company on the planet.
God.
And not saying anything, but yeah.
I want all the goss.
No, but it was just like one of those things. And I was so depressed. And then my husband said something and it really triggered me, and I was just like, I think I need help. And he was like, I fully support this. Let's get you some help. So but like between that and now actually moving more in a way that makes me happy, I feel so much better. And I think as well, like following people like yourself, it does help, because like even when you get the actual reality of it, like anyone who follows you knows that you've been going through the joys of the arm wound. But I mean, like that affects so many people. Like how many people have have an allergic reaction to hair dye and don't even realize it, and then it happens and like they didn't do the patch test.
Oh my God.
Yeah, can you imagine? Well, you can.
I know.
Like,
I've just today returned a little bit more to normal.
Yay!
So I'm buzzing.
Looks a bit more like my eczema.
Looks more like eczema now. Eczema I can deal with, not like my arms blowing up 4 times the size, not being able to move them. It was a whole time. But yes, yeah, that's the normal stuff.
But it's important to see all of that. And I think the really nice thing about as well your community group on Facebook is people can actually write in there and just be like, someone took this picture of me and sent it to me, and they had all the best intentions, and it was a happy moment, and I felt great at the time, and now I look at it and I feel like shit.
Yeah.
And then seriously, it's like the warmest hug in that group. Everyone comes and rallies round and just goes, what are you on about? Like, I see someone who's really happy, and you're there and you're with your kids.
Yeah. And what's really nice about the group is that it really is like, you don't have to listen to the podcast to be part of the group.
Yeah.
Although it would make sense, because then you know what we're all talking about, and you're there, but you don't have to. And it is the warmest hug. Like, that's such a lovely way to put it. Since we started it early 2022, it's probably one of the biggest joys of my life is seeing the stuff in that group, because I know so I grew up slimmer and then gained weight sort of in my mid-20s, and then I was like the biggest of my friends, and there was things that were going on and that I couldn't do, and then I couldn't shop and all this kind of stuff, and I couldn't talk to anyone about it. Didn't even think that I needed to talk to anyone about it. So although our podcast so in that group you've got people there who haven't got those other people in their life either, and they are finding their people in this group of mostly women. And we've got some great, guys in there as well, really supportive and fabulous. But equally, you don't also have to be plus size or bigger or whatever to be in that group. We have got the whole ethos is basically the way we look is the least interesting thing about you, and we are there to support and be fangirls for each other. And I love that friendship. Don't even get me started on the friendships that are made in there, because I cry every time. But it's just so nice that you could post a photo in there and be like, and it's not like in a like sort of self-deprecating way, or in a I just getting it for the compliments. It's like, do you know what, I'm having a really shit day, so I've just seen this photo of myself and I hate it. And the women and the people in the group aren't going to go, oh no, but don't worry about it because you look great. It's more just, I totally get how you feel. That feels like shit. It's not like, oh, don't worry, don't be sad. It's more, shit, isn't it? Like plastic chairs in the garden, like the £5 plastic chairs in the garden, shit, aren't they? Yeah, not like, oh, really sorry. We need that in our lives.
That's the thing, isn't it? And I mean, you and I are of a similar age and grew up with those awful magazines with all the, someone who's a size 0 has cellulite. Whoop-de-doo, everyone bloody well does. Fuck off. But you're going to make us feel bad about it anyway. And when I was a teenager, I had like the worst group of friends. They were all, it was all looks. And like we'd be sat there. I was 8.5. I got down to about 8 stone. Jeez. Went to my GP and he was just like, yeah, you're too skinny. I can see rib. I can see your hips. You have to gain weight, otherwise bad things are going to happen to you. And then for like the longest time, I was, an average size. And then, of course, had the kids. And also having 2 so close together as well really changes things and ups the ante in the whole weight gain scenario. So in the course of last couple of years, I put on about 3 stone. And for some, inexplicable reason, hormones, things just kept creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. And like, I really found it hard to believe that my husband still found me attractive. Mate, that guy tries to jump me every 5 seconds and I don't think I'm attractive. It's like, what is going on? But he loves me. I love him. He's super hot. And but lockdown got us all, didn't it? And
it did. And it's God, it's fine. I mean, in case of with your case of having children and becoming a mum and stuff like that, your body is going to change. And I can't relate. I don't have children, but I can only imagine the pressure and what that feels like, because as I said before, my story is that I'm big now because I gained weight about sort of 8 years ago. I started gaining weight, and I know what that pressure is like, to be like, I've gained weight and I think the world thinks I'm disgusting and everyone's looking at me and no one likes me and oh my God, I can't shop anywhere. And I know that feeling. And I know that feeling without having to have the children as well. So it doesn't even really matter the reasons why you gain weight so much. It is just the stigma that comes with weight gain is unbelievable. And although it doesn't matter, and we will get to this, and I hope this will be the point that I drive home. There are people in all of our lives probably who will probably have said something, or you're seeing the way that they look at you, and they could be the most wonderful people and you love them, but those diet culture-y things of, you know, to be small is better and everything must be flattering are in everybody's brains. We've grown up with all of this, you know, us growing up in the 90s and noughties did, but those people growing up in the 60s, 70s, 80s also had it even worse without social media being like, oh, hey, by the way, it doesn't matter if being fat is great. So we've all had it. And yeah, if you gain weight, you might have a mum saying, oh, darling, like you put on a bit, or someone saying stuff. So it's really, really shit.
Yes.
Getting out of that.
I even found it quite triggering, even like someone coming up and telling me that I looked good, that had I lost a couple of pounds. It was like, what's that to you?
And then what are you implying?
Exactly.
Like, I didn't look good before?
Did I need to? Like, was I not pretty before? Was I not good looking before? And I think that's crazy to me. Like, I find it weird that people compliment each other in that way. Like,
when you think about it, it is, isn't it? It's absolutely insane, but it's the first go-to that we all have about appearances of that.
But even if someone just looks super happy, I'm like, wow, you look really happy today, or I love that top on you. I've always complimented people in that way. I've never said, oh, you look good, have you lost a couple of pounds?
Oh God, I would never.
It drives me insane because it's such a trigger to me anyway as well. So I'd never say that to anyone else. But you only know that when you've been through it, I feel. And like a member of my family, well, extended family, is always on a diet, always on a diet, always compliments people in that way. And I know why. Like, you know, she was brought up in that way. You had to look good to get a husband. That's the way it was. And so she was always on a diet, probably still is now. And like you said, I absolutely love her. She's like one of my main people, but I still, every time she says something like that, I'm like, yes, it's a new dress. Yes, it's lovely.
I know it's difficult. And then you hear, you know, like if someone in your, like those family members, and I'm sure we can all think of them, or maybe their colleagues or friends or whatever, and they notice somebody else has perhaps lost weight or their body has changed, and they're complimenting it as if it's the world's biggest thing that they've ever done. But you have just, I don't know, graduated university or got a brand new job or you know, written a book or all these amazing things. You're like, hi, I've just achieved this actual thing as well, and you're acting like weight loss is the world's biggest achievement when it's not. Like the focus we all have on bodies is understandable, obviously, and we're not saying that, but it's more just there's so much more going on and there's so much more to talk about. Like, I think the most interesting thing about people is the thing that they're most passionate about. I love that. I don't care what you look like. I couldn't give a shit what like size pants you put on every morning. What I do want to know is like, what music you into? Can we talk about films? Can we get excited about Little Mermaid? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I want.
I feel like yes, I feel like we're very similar in that way. Exactly. And that's the thing, isn't it? Is like, what, as you always say, it's the least interesting thing about you.
It just is.
So if I'm going to be honest, I look at you on Instagram, as do most people, quite a lot. And I just look at the way you dress and I just think, every time I see you in one of your fabulous dresses, I just think you look so gorgeous. Anyway, whatever you wear. But but like, you know, you have quite, I feel like you've really found your style and you really know like what suits you. And do you know what? you did this reel a while ago. It was a Sainsbury's TU reel.
Yeah.
You went and tried on some dresses,
Hmm.
and you were a bit like, I quite like this one, I don't like that one, blah blah blah. It was just really honest and really real. And I think one of the things that really hit me was like, you were like, do you know what? I feel like I really like this dress, but I'm not sure, because if I'm honest, the lighting was just shit in that room. And it's so true. Like, I don't actually go out and physically try clothes on anymore. Like, I
Same.
tend to order them online, and you look at them on the model and you see them on the model, and that model doesn't have the same body shape as you.
Nope.
It doesn't look like you.
Mm.
And it's really difficult. And I just don't go shopping anymore. I tend to buy things online, and then they either sit in my wardrobe with tags on if I don't like them, or they get returned awfully late.
Do your returns. If anyone's listening to this right now, do your bloody returns.
Yes,
Beg them.
do. Don't procrastinate like me. But yeah, I think and I also think that you've got to be in the right mood to go clothes shopping as well, because like sometimes if I'm feeling really shit and I go try on clothes, chances are I'm going to find something wrong. Like, I'll try on a size that I think fits me and it doesn't, and instead of just going, oh, I'll size up, I'll just like beat myself over the head, go to Costa and get a stupidly priced coffee and a croissant to make myself feel better.
Standard stuff.
But who would you say anyone in particular has like influenced the way you dress?
So I'll get to kind of people in terms of their style that I like, but what I will say is that I love my wardrobe now. I can go into my wardrobe. This is such a privilege, and I will explain it in a second. I can go to my wardrobe now. I'm going away for 2 days in the morning. I've got to have 3 outfits because we're doing a show in Liverpool, and I'm very excited about it at Apple. And I've got to have 3 outfits, and I know that I can go into my wardrobe now and find those 3 outfits without having we have all done it, that panic, that tantrum of before going out and trying to find an outfit that fits, that you like, that you feel comfortable in, and then just being like, fuck it, I'm not going. It's like all very the Grinch. And I had that for so long, but now I can go into that wardrobe and find things that I love and feel comfortable and confident in. However, that has not always been the case. And after I gained weight, again, it was one of those, none of my clothes were fitting, and I had these like array of dresses that were, they were little dresses and strappy and little and mini and fabulous and colourful and wonderful, and they were all size 12s and 14s, and they didn't fit anymore. And so I just started going to supermarkets and finding whatever I could in my size. My style for many years was what fits and what I can find in Asda that's my size. How many of us have had that, right? And I spent years wearing black leggings and a baggy top, or jeans and a camisole with a caftan. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that style and those clothes at all, because everyone's style is different, and that's what's so fabulous, it wasn't me. And it was me hiding and me thinking that I didn't deserve to have nice clothes or deserve to wear the colourful dresses that I wanted to. Essentially, the style that I used to have when I was smaller, I didn't think I deserved to have that when I was 5 dress sizes bigger. And it takes a lot of work. And however many years later after starting it, maybe like sort of 2.5 years after kind of really going for it and trying to learn to love myself and accept the reasons why I gained weight and all that stuff. And I just went, fuck it. Like you said earlier, it is, I think we all have got to get to this fuck it phase of just being like, I don't care what anybody else thinks of me. I want to wear what I want to wear. And here's the clincher that settled it for me. It was like, I am fat, or this is my body, whether I am wearing black leggings and a baggy t-shirt that I hate, or whether I'm wearing a pink mini dress that I love, right? If you're wishing to cover your body or hide, you're not going to make yourself smaller or different because you wear a different, different clothes. There are things that are perhaps more flattering, and I hate that word, but I can't think of another word for it right now. But it doesn't hide as much as we think it hides. And so since that point, I have just filled my wardrobe with things that I love. And I think even in the last year, and probably that's maybe what you're referring to, is I've just gone for it even more.
Yeah.
Hemlines have come up.
I love it though. Great. You've got amazing legs. Show them off. Why not? But I think that's the thing. Like, I don't think the word flattering is a bad word at all, because like everyone has bits of their bodies that they prefer. Like, I will 100% hold my hand up. You spoke about this again recently. What was it? The comfort cardigan or something like that.
The safety cardigan and the
safety cardigan. Yeah. Even when I was a size 8 to 10, I wore a safety cardigan. Even then, because I've got eczema, and so I used to cover my arms up. Now I don't care. Like, the only time I wear a cardigan in the summer is if I'm trying to stop my elbow sweating and making the eczema worse.
Good point.
but like, you know, I used to do that even then, and now I don't. Like, I'm quite happy in a strappy top, and I really don't care. Like, I see pictures of myself now. I mean, like, as I said, sometimes I get caught off guard and I'll see something that someone's taken at a barbecue, or it's a really shit angle, or they're taking a photo of someone else and I'm in the background. I'm not prepared, and I think, oh, fuck, I look like an elephant. And then other times but then I also think, well, I feel comfortable in this. I'm hot. I want to wear a strappy top, and I will, you know. And I think that, you know, you said again recently as well, something else. You said that you were privileged with the shape of the body that you have, in that you have a waist, like your clearly defined waist. Yeah. And so, like, I mean, I don't think that the word flattering is in any way a bad word when we're describing things, because like something that's flattering to someone else, like a pair of mum jeans, I might feel like I look terrible in. I am a millennial, and I own many a pair of skinny jeans.
We just love our skinny jeans and side parties. Leave us alone.
Mate, I'm so sorry, but like, I'm trying the whole centre parting. I have very similar bangs to you, my love, and I cannot make them work for me.
I love that you've gone with trying to centre part, and that's what I think I do as well, but both of ours are still very off centre.
It's so bad. And people, if you are watching and if you're watching on Spotify, you will be able to see all of this. But yeah, but I am a millennial. I own many a pair of skinny jeans. I will not lie. And I mean, there was a day when I used to only wear boot cut, because that was all that was fucking available. But yeah, I bought a pair of mum jeans a while ago, and I put them on, and I just felt like a sack of potatoes. And then I look at someone else, and they're the most flattering jeans on someone else. And I think, again, like, when we say that body positivity is means different things to different people, I think, you know, what you feel, I feel like flattering clothes are the clothes you feel comfortable in, mostly, because like, if you're happy in your clothes and you're happy in what you're wearing, is visibly obvious, isn't it? Like, you are right. You know, so there we go. So we don't define the word flattering.
That's the thing. So what's really interesting is that that's your definition of the word flattering, which I find really interesting, whereas mine and perhaps this, I might need to sort of think about this a little bit, is flattering to me is everyone telling me, well, you know, growing up and be like, oh, that's really flattering on you. And to me, that's them saying that makes you look smaller. And it's that you're saying flattering because you think it's making me look smaller. But you're right, that's not always the case. And I think perhaps for some people, flattering means you look really bloody fabulous in that, like, because you just look confident and happy in that. So yeah, you are right. So I take back that point. And when you're wearing something that you feel awesome in, is the best. And we sometimes, you know, I sometimes apologize when I talk about fashion, when we talk about, sorry, what I'm trying to say, I sometimes apologize when I talk about fashion, because, oh no, fashion's fickle. It's not fickle. The line between fashion and what we wear and our self-esteem and confidence is huge. It is so linked. That's why when we go into New Look and we can't find anything in our size, we've got to go up 2 sizes because the sizes are all silly. That's why we feel like shit. That's why when we get that perfect dress, we feel amazing. So there's such this link between them, and having a wardrobe full of clothes that you love, you feel comfortable and confident. Those are the 2 things. I'm not going to feel confident if I ain't comfortable.
100%.
And vice versa. And I just wanted to say as well, this is so important. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. And the way that I've done it, because I'm on one salary, or like an NHS one salary situation in my house, is I sold my clothes that I have grown out of.
Oh, wow.
And I put that money towards a new wardrobe that I mostly have got secondhand on Vinted, because who's got the money to buy those clothes? You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that as well. It's time to, if you've got this, wardrobe or drawers full of clothes that don't fit you anymore, it's time to say goodbye to them, because they're not going to make you feel good, and sell them if you want to, and use that money to buy nice things that you love.
Well, my mum introduced me to Vinted because she did exactly that with her wardrobe as well.
Fabulous.
And she like comes around to my house every Monday to look after my kids while I work. And seriously, that woman, she comes in every day in a new top, and I'm like,
right,
where the fuck has that come from, mum? It was a Vinted special, she calls it. A Vinted special.
It is an addiction. Watch yourself, everybody, because
I know.
At the weekend it was Saturday and it was 10 a.m. and I'd already bought 4 dresses on Vinted, and I was like, what the hell? But they need a new home, and I'm giving them a new home.
Exactly. And so I tried on a pair of shorts a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't fit me anymore. They were my shorts from last summer, and I could have got upset about it, and I could have been really down about it. And instead I went on Vinted and I bought 2 pairs of shorts from Vinted.
Love.
And I just thought, do you know what? If they're the wrong size, if they don't fit, or if they're, God forbid, too small, then I'll just put them back on Vinted and I'll sell them again. It's easy. And that's like one of the best things about it, is that you get to try all these dresses and other things on, and they're nowhere near the price of what you would have bought them for, like, from the actual shop, to be honest. But like I think Vinted as well has given me sort of like more of the confidence to try new things.
Oh my god, it has to be too. Stuff. Yeah.
So 100%. Like the mum jeans that I bought were from Vinted, and again, they are Marks and Spencer's jeans. They're actually really good quality.
Love an M&S.
And I really liked them. Whereas the ones I bought from Asda, I was not happy with.
There we go. So just try.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I did not return them on time, and so they have ended up on Vinted.
That's good. But at least they go to a new home, and that's the most important thing. Yeah. So that's good, and they can go to a new.
It's like the circle of life for fashion.
But like probably about 70% of the clothes I wear are secondhand, and I love them.
But that's the other thing that I really like as well, is that like you're not afraid to say that, and I just think it's brilliant that, like, we sometimes see influencers sharing their fashion favorites, and they're all like dresses that are like 200 quid or whatever, and things like that. And although that's fine for some people, we're moving house, and it's stupid with interest rates at the moment. We have 3 really crazy scary kids who all need stuff, and I like a swarm of locusts at times that just eat us out of house and so we all need a bit of Vinted in our lives, and it's a great thing.
Absolutely. And there's a lot there's more options, I think, on Vinted, Depop, eBay, whatever, in our sizes than there probably is if you walked into Westfield or Bluewater or Lakeside. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I had a really bad I think part of my whole jeans situation recently, I had such a bad experience in River Island. I went in and I was looking for a pair of either 14 or 16 jeans, and I'll be honest, in River Island I'm probably a 16, 18, honestly. And I went in, I was hopeful, and all of the jeans on their rails out on the shop floor only went up to a 14. And I almost cried because the best pair of jeans I've ever owned were River Island jeans. They're good quality jeans, but they just did not have my size. And I just felt like complete and utter shit. And then my husband walked up to me and he was like, let's go to New Look. I was like, right, okay.
Trusty New Look, that's it. And they've extended their size in store to 22 on everything. That's
my safety place is New Look, if I'm honest with you. I love a bit of New Look, and honestly, like they're one of the only shops that I found where the sizing of their jeans is fairly similar across all their ranges as well. And that's one thing that Alex Light speaks about as well. She has this amazing image that she shares of trousers all from the same shop, all in the same size, and it's just fucking crazy. The size difference between all of those pairs of trousers is absolutely insane. I will hunt that image down and I'll share it to my stories for you guys. But it's just absolute insanity. So if you ever feel like you're not worthy of a shop, that's not the case. The shop is not worthy of you guys.
Yes, say it louder for the people at the back. Oh my
God. I'll do.
This is it. They're not worthy of your money if they cannot stock your sizes in store, and if they are not going to provide their clothes in your size. That, you know, they're still pretty much all retailers are still doing separate plus sizes, which is quite frustrating. And many of them do not stock above a size 20 in store. Most don't do an 18. If they do, it's like 1 or 2. And then even our beloved New Look was bad. I don't think it's as bad anymore now. It's extended to sizes, but it was like you have a little section at the back, girls. If you're above a size 18, you've got to go over there and get your butterfly tops and your cold shoulders and your fucking jewelry and all that shit.
I've got another cold shoulder top.
Babes, I think I've spent pretty much all of 2017 and 18 in a cold shoulder top and jeans. That was my life.
Oh God. Like my mum found like the best place to go shopping for bigger sizes was actually a supermarket.
I love a supermarket shop.
I love a supermarket shop.
Goodness. Yeah.
This is why I'm not allowed to do the food shop anymore. So basically, I pre-lockdown, I would go to the supermarket with my now eldest, who was like 3, 4. She turned 4 just as we went into lockdown, and we go to the supermarket, and mostly for the excuse that I had to pick up a couple of things for dinner. Oops, we accidentally went to the cafe for some chips. Because
fell into the cafe, oopsie.
Oh, do you know what? Their coffees weren't bad. It was all very reasonably priced, and she was hangry as fuck after nursery, and so we
got to see what you got to do, babes. Yeah, get it.
Yeah, we used to go have a little look at the clothes, buy a magazine, grab some sausages, get some chips, and
doesn't that sounded like a fabulous day?
Oh, this was our time. We get to spend this time together, have the nursery download. I don't get to do that with the others now, which is a shame. But her nursery was right next to Sainsbury's, and so sometimes I'd just like park at Sainsbury's, go grab her, and then go back. But yeah, I'd always ask, you know, just stuff falls into your basket, doesn't it? It's not your fault. No,
it's not my fault. No, and they're great. Do you know what as well? I think it also lockdown that did supermarket fashion a favour, because that's the only
huge.
It was, I just remember I had a day off. So I work in the NHS, luckily in a corporate role, not frontline, but either way, the first 3 months of COVID was horrendous for me.
Yeah.
So I booked a day off purely, I think it was end of May, purely to go to the big Sainsbury's that was a 45-minute drive away. And I spent 4 hours in that Sainsbury's. I looked at every product, I had the best time of my life. And now, I don't go shopping in person pretty much ever. I think I've gone to M&S recently, unless it's for a little Tesco's or a Sainsbury's. Love it.
Yeah. So when we went into lockdown, I was pregnant with my second.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, literally about to pop.
No, did you have a baby during COVID? Stop. There's so many children.
I know. second, let me find another one. So we went into lockdown just before Mother's Day in March, didn't we? Which was shit. And then luckily, I feel bad for my sister about it, but my mum joined our
your bubble.
So yeah, it was a bit of a shit show, but yeah, it happened. But I was very pregnant. I had her on the 20th of April.
Jeez.
And so there was all this thing about whether he could be there or not, like all of that. Luckily he could, but I had to be triaged first, and she was sat so low throughout the whole pregnancy that she just like whooshed out. So it was like we were lucky to make it to the hospital. And then so I couldn't do the food shop anymore because I was pregnant. It was like you're not allowed out anywhere because you are carrying new life. You are important apparently.
You must shield.
Yes, exactly. So I wasn't allowed out anywhere. And so I lost my supermarket.
No, do you know what's so funny?
I get dirty looks. Like he'd pull up to Sainsbury's, shove a mask at me, carry a bag at me, and then I'd have to quickly run in, grab some bits and run back out again. And then it got to the point where I just felt so judged. I was like, mate, you have to do this now. I can't do this anymore. Like people are tutting at me down the aisles, like, and whispering as well, like she shouldn't be here. It was like, oh, okay, fine, I won't risk it anymore. And then when she was 10 months old, I found out just as I started my marketing agency and had hired my first person, found out I was pregnant with my third. Crikey. Complete and utter surprise. So yes, she was the bog off. She was the buy one get one. I love her to pieces, and she honestly, they're all my favorites, but she is special. But we thought we were done with two, and we ended up with a third. So there you go.
Interesting. And now you've got your supermarkets back.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like even now, we're so busy with everything, and both my husband and I work from home, and so we don't. It's like going out is a struggle, and that was one of the other things why I actually signed up to work with a PT, because I was like, if he tells me I have to go out, I have to go out. Like I have a reason to go out, you know.
Good plan.
So, like I needed the accountability of having a person going, have you done your walk today?
Love that. Maybe I need that too.
Yeah, but it was really helpful. And so, like, you know, just pay someone to tell you to go for a walk. Maybe just get a friend to go for a walk with you.
I should do, yeah. Literally. I mean, to be fair, I only started walking because we were doing a charity step challenge at work, and I was accountable on an app, and people saw how many steps you did a day. Yeah. All right. Sorry. As a complete aside to how much we love a supermarket shop is.
But yeah, no,
accountability.
Yes, I lost my supermarket shops, and so yeah, I still don't really get to go. But even when I do, like the Asda near us, the clothes are upstairs, and I will always find a reason to go upstairs.
Always.
Whether, you know, I was like, I just went to check out the bowls because the Discrepo baby smashed all the bowls in our house, and so it's like I must go and look at bowls. Oh, whoops. Did that £18 dress just fall in my basket? What a shame.
It's not our fault.
You gotta love it. Yeah. Back on topic. So you're now entering your 4th season of the podcast, which I'm very excited about. But I'm gonna make you be very decisive here.
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Who is your favourite guest that you've had so far?
Can I have 2?
Okay, fine.
Okay, good. Genuinely, we have not had a bad guest, and I mean that so genuinely. We are quite picky with who we have on, and we talk about it, and we make sure that we have diversity across as many different areas as we can get that, because we want our podcast to be for everybody. And so we have been so lucky with all of our guests, but 2 particular ones stick out for me because they had the most significant impact on my life, genuinely. And then we saw lots of other people have impact on them as well. So the first one is Tally Rye, who is a personal trainer and does lots on Instagram, and it is just So bloody lovely. There are no words. I've been lucky enough to meet her as well, and she's just wonderful. And she was the first person who kind of said, exercise doesn't just have to be for weight loss. It can just be for your brain. And that was like revolutionary. And if you don't follow her already, please do follow her. She's just incredible. But because of my own relationship with movement and exercise and diet culture and stuff, it took me over a year to put that into practice. But I remember that conversation so vividly, and she's incredible. But I think probably my ultimate one, and I've said this a few times, but I'll always say it, is somebody called Scotty Unfamous, and that's her Instagram handle. And she is what she calls a sexfluencer, which is just the best title ever. And we did an episode with her that was all about kind of intimacy, sex, self-pleasure and all that kind of stuff as a bigger person. And at the time, so I'm single, and at the time I hadn't dated for a good 2.5 years, because I was like, no one's going to find me attractive, I'm disgusting, who's going to want to have sex with me, blah 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 blah. And we had this one conversation with Scotty, and I'll tell you what, I downloaded the apps the next day and I had the best autumn of my life. Like, it was just fantastic. And she changed the game. And one of the things that she said to me, and again, I think it's one of the things that had the biggest impact on my confidence, is learning to kind of like look at yourself and accept yourself, like especially naked and stuff, walk around the house, look at yourself, take photos, all that kind of thing. Sexuality is really important to me, and I was missing that from my life because I just thought, because I gained weight, I was unattractive, not worthy, and all of this. So Scotty has a very special place in my heart for just kind of bringing me back to life a little bit. So I loved that episode.
If I could both hug you and give you a high five all at the same time, okay. Now my sister wanted me to ask you this one.
Okay.
Who would be your dream guest?
Oh my God. Again, I think I have two. Okay. I have like the ultimate go love yourself guest would be Queen Lizzo.
Of course.
Because like she is revolutionizing stuff, and I think even more so than we probably even realize. And there are girls, women out there who are seeing her do her thing, and for the first time are feeling represented, important, sexy, all of that. And
she's doing it on so many levels. There's so many different things that she's doing. Like, she's up on stage, she's in these amazing, fabulous clothes, she's making everything sexy now. Like and she's doing that, as a woman of color as well, but also, and this is my own personal take on it, as a fellow flute player.
Best sentence of the day.
That goddamn instrument looks so cool.
Mate, the fact that she's got a name, the flute, I think she's maybe called Sasha, I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
But when we went, it's just fantastic. We saw her at the O2 in March, and like she did a solo with the flute, and it was just like, however many thousands of people are in this room, all just absolutely captivated and like screaming about this woman playing the flute. Who would have thought that like 5 years ago? Do you know what I mean? But she's making it cool.
You know what? Like, when I was at school, I was learning the flute, and I used to get ribbed for it all the time. I'd have my flute box, and everyone would be like, what's in there? I'd be like, my flute, and people would want to see it, and they'd be like, oh, and you play it like this? And I was like, no, you don't. Like this, and like you hold it like a recorder, but you turn it to this. Like,
you tell them.
Yeah, exactly. I had like my little screwdriver set and everything to make sure everything sounded right, and and my flute was rented as well, because like flutes are stupidly expensive, so you rent your flute and you have to look after it and everything as well. And so like my teacher would always be like, we got to screw this bit back in and blah.
Okay, it's very official.
But like the minute you mention flute to people, they're just, oh, what is that? Oh, why? At least play something cool like a saxophone. Why are you playing the flute? And then you see her up on stage, like at Glasgow, just like, oh, I'll just whip my flute out and play a little bit. And it's just like, what the hell?
Like, It's just incredible. So she's doing it all and she gets so much flack and she takes it on the chin and she's going to change the world.
Like, I mean, like from our outside perspective, from what we see of her, like, yeah, she gets flack and she's just like, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway. Yeah. I mean, who knows? She might be like in her dressing gown every now and again, eating a tub of Haagen-Dazs, thinking, "Why am I doing this?"
Probably.
I mean, like, the amount, like, seriously, the amount of positive messages she must get from people like us who are just like, "Mate, like, you're slamming it."
I know. It was just, it's the representation part that just fills my heart with joy. Like at the concert in March, there was this young girl right at the front who said, I know the It's About Damn Time dance, and not the one that went viral. Yeah. The one that was there's a bit of the bridge or something. She knew that dance. And then she picked this girl out of the crowd, and then she was just sort of on this little platform and she did the dance. And then Lizzo posted about it the next day to be like, after we finished the show, I burst into tears in my dressing room about that, because it was like, that's what I did and that's how I looked at Beyonce when I was younger. And now this young Black girl, you know, was able to do the same, and how like powerful is that? So the representation across, you know, for women of color and for people in bigger bodies is incredible. So she's the ultimate guest. Yes. But my personal little, like, just would, we've tried, please someone listen, is actually Miranda Hart, because the series Miranda is my favorite thing in the entire world. It's just got a little place in my heart. I watched it going through some very, 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 very awful times, and it was the thing that I put on, and it's my old, you know, like your comfort show, but it's that you've got to be pretty wibbly to watch this one.
Oh my god, it's a huge family favorite of ours, and we reference her in all sorts of
yay, I do too, and no one gets it.
Oh my god, we love it. Love it. Like, you know, it's like, even when we're on the phone and something's happening, it's always always bear with. I have a such fun key ring on my keys. Oh my god, of course. Actually, I think I've got, oh my god, I think somewhere I bought a print of hers. You know, she's got her like Miranda shop, and she did a print for, at some point, with loads of different like little Miranda thingies. I totally forgot I've bought that. I have no idea where that is. I'm gonna find it. I will find it. No, even if you're looking for a really crap craft to do with children, making fruit friends is a real fun thing to do.
Fruit friends and vegetables.
Oh my god. Seriously though, like, if you do ever get her on, can I just like be in the room?
Absolutely. If she comes on, I just cannot even. I think Laura will have to do
co-producer for a day. I'll hold the bag of dicks.
That's fine. You might have to be me, to be fair, because I think I won't be able to physically talk, because I fangirl anyway on everyone. But like, if Miranda Hart was there, I think I'd lose the plot.
Just hold your hand, or hold your
that would be fine.
Oh no, North and South River people holding hands while Miranda.
Well, now we're better. We've now just bonded over Miranda, so like,
well, there you go.
We BFFs, babes.
That and supermarket clothes shopping, we're friends for life.
and secondhand shopping also.
Oh yes,
these definitely are like my three loves.
There you go. So we've got Lizzo, we've got Miranda Hart. They are, guys, listen to season 4. Who knows? They may appear.
Who knows?
So, talking of season 4, do you have your guests already lined up? What's going on?
we got a few. We're doing lots of pre-recording. So we've done quite a few episodes already, ready for our season 4 to come out at some point really soon. So I won't give anything away, other than there's an episode that Laura and I are really excited for, because I think if you listen to the podcast, you know that Laura and I are actually polar opposites in so many ways. It's hilarious, and we've only found out this more and more doing the podcast, right?
I loved your last episode where you talked about horoscopes. That was brilliant. I was just like, what? But so honestly, different. You guys being polar opposite, it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, I think it works. And we said it recently, was like, you couldn't really have a podcast of all me and you couldn't have one of all Laura. You need both of us. And I love that. And there's a lot of things that we differ on. One of them being The Little Mermaid, in which I saw it and I was like, how did you hate it? And then she voice noted me 2-minute voice note to be like what she didn't like about it, and I couldn't talk to her for 2 days, and that was hilarious. I was like, how could you not? It's magical. But anyway, yeah, we differ on a lot, but there's one thing that we agree on, like, so emphatically, and there will be an episode on that, is all I will say. And I'm very excited about that. And what we're really excited for season 4 is slightly diversifying our topics, because we have obviously done a lot of body confidence, self-love, diet culture, and that will be the main message, and that will always be the main message. But there's so much more we want to talk about. Last season we talked about binge eating, anxiety, ADHD. We want to talk about those things as well in a way that Laura and I do, that we hope for people listening is a case of like listening into two mates talking about this kind of stuff. So
it's fairly similar on my side as well. So I've spoken about neurodiversity, fussy eating in children, body confidence now, thank God. But yeah, loads of different stuff. It's sobriety, and ADHD has come up a number of times. So both me and my oldest are actually going through referral at the moment to find out. And I think that was one of the weirdest things, like, coming across all the videos that were probably TikToks originally, but I found them in Reels because
get TikTok, for God's sake, you'll get it about 4 weeks before. So yeah,
exactly. But during all my research to find out about whether my nephew had it, realizing my daughter probably did, and everything related to me, I was just like, oh shit, that makes so much sense about why I couldn't work in an office, because I got distracted and everything was very squirrely.
Good
if
word.
you've ever watched Up, you'll know the reference. But yeah, so it's so we're both going through our own referral process at the moment as well. And like, so I think for a lot of women, it's a very strange thing to realize that you might have ADHD, because you're always presented it from a male point of view. It's always the naughty boy in the classroom, and you can't sit still and throws chairs and all of that sort of stuff. But you don't realize that in women it can present as talking too much, or oversharing, or your brain whizzing and not being able to sleep at night, and all of that fun stuff. And I think that was like a real weird realization for me as well. And having that time off on maternity leave and thinking, I'm bored constantly because I didn't have that stimulation of work, and making me feel more and more depressed because I didn't have people to talk to. But then equally, being around people all the time in an office environment drove me absolutely stoned. Like, working remotely is a brilliant thing for me. I get to speak to people, and then I can switch them off again and concentrate for a bit. Or I get to listen to your lovely voice talking about important things that are actually interesting, instead of having to listen to Dave try and eat his lunch.
Dave, when he eats his lunch, they need to start. And I tell you what, and it's Dave with his phone on, and his phone on loud. No one's had their phone on loud, Dave, since 2005. Stop it.
If I'm honest, having being a millennial and having a desk phone is probably one of the scariest things to ever happen to me in an office. It was like, at least I can screen the calls coming into my mobile.
Yeah, it's so true. Honestly, yeah, I've struggled with that as well. Going back into the office, like,
when I first started at my first job, my boss was like, when the phone rings, you have to answer it. And I was like, if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail.
If they want me, they'll find me.
My voicemail was literally, you've reached the voicemail of Louise Jose. If you have something important to say, send me an email.
That's my favorite. Do you know what, my first comms job, because I work in communications, my manager was a journalist from like the 70s, and she was fantastic. I owe her like all the good bits I am at my day job is because of her. But it was so funny because she was old school. She would like cold call and be like, right, go out and get these stories. And I was like, well, I don't mind going up to people and talking to them, but I'm not picking up the phone. That's disgusting. And calling someone when they're not expecting it, and then I'm having to answer the phone to, but absolutely not. And it was so funny because she couldn't grasp, like, why? my first job out of uni was in PR and events, and so we are the same.
I know. It's like my whole thing was having to like negotiate like giveaways, the price on giveaways and stuff like that. And one of like, I could negotiate, that was fine. I'd always be like, well, I've spoken to this company and that company, and they can do it 5p cheaper. But like, what I remember clearly on my like first real review of my performance, was Louise has got better at answering the phone. I was just like, fuck yes, David, I have got better at answering the phone.
Bloody David and his opinions. Like,
oh no, but honestly, that was like, I got a lot out of that job. I traveled a lot. I learned a lot, and that was brilliant. But like after that, like I'm in marketing now. I do I put myself down more as a generalist, but I guess really I've sort of like fallen into the world of content marketing.
okay.
You know, podcasts and webinars and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely fun. And
Good.
but yeah, I can't think of anything else I would rather do than being in marketing. Like,
Good. That's good. You know what you want to be when you grow up. I'm still figuring it out, mate. So that's good.
Well, we're getting there. You get there in the end, eventually. But yeah, I guess, you know, both of us doing podcasts, both of us in comms and everything as well. It's cool.
That's awesome. With our just off the middle part and our
not quite middle part.
Yeah, we can't commit. But yes, we are the same.
It's brilliant. But, honestly, thank you so much for joining me today and talking to me. Honestly, it's been awesome because I'm such a fangirl of yours. But
oh, bless you. No, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me. And I fear that we've perhaps steered away from body confidence and talked a lot about our opinions about David work and also supermarkets and other things. But those are important things.
They are important things, and they are what my listeners want to hear. And if they don't, they can come back the week after next.
But no, it's been wonderful and always a great opportunity. And you know, someone that doesn't have children, I just love that I've been able to come onto a podcast that is, you know, sort of more aimed at mums, and hopefully this message still applies. So I hope that's been helpful.
But that's the thing, though, is that like your audience is so diverse because of your message, and it does apply to, I feel like it applies to everyone, even the most confident person. They might be at the gym and have a six-pack, and actually the reason they've been to the gym and got the six-pack in the first place is because they didn't feel confident, you know, in their own body. And I think it's a message that can apply to everyone, you know, as you said, including men, and 100% men, really, because they're the source of all body confidence problems.
I know. And then they feel it, and then they feel it too. I'll give them sympathy.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, like it's a stupid effed up world, and we all have to live in it. And you know, if we can at least feel more confident and happy in the bodies that we're in, then
that's all it is.
Brilliant.
It's just, life is so short and so fleeting. Let's not spend it at war with ourselves or focusing on hating ourselves. Let's just focus on the good things, which is spending time with the people that you love, doing the things that make you smile and fill you with joy, and just not worrying about something as insignificant as the way we look.
I love it. I love you. So glad
right back at you, babes.
Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for talking random shit with me for the last hour. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode of Mum's Work and Chaos, please make sure to subscribe on whatever podcasting channel you're listening on at the moment. Or if you'd like to get involved, feel free to email me at mumsworkandchaos@gmail.com, or follow us on Instagram at mumsworkandchaos. See you then.